Hello, you're watching Our Time. Natalia Sopit is here in the studio for you, and I'll tell you about the most important news at this hour, right now. 6 people were injured as a result of a Russian attack on the Donetsk region. 10 settlements came under fire, according to the police. Among them are Drushkivka, Kostantinivka, Kramatorsk, and Mykolaievka. For example, in Drushkivka, the enemy dropped 3 aerial bombs and used 2 drones. 3 people were injured, and residential buildings, a school, and cars were damaged. Another 3 people were wounded near the village of Prively. In the past 24 hours, police recorded more than 2,000 shellings. Russia attacked an educational institution in Zaporizhia last night. As a result of the kamikaze drone strike, a fire broke out. A car also caught fire, and windows were blown out in neighboring houses. Rescuers have already put out the fire. At the moment, debris is still being cleared from the damaged building. There were no casualties. Mass desertion in the Russian army. More than 25,000 soldiers and officers have left units of the Central Military District of the Russian Federation over the past 9 months. According to Ukrainian intelligence, troops are fleeing their positions, not returning from leave, and not coming back after medical treatment. There have been cases where soldiers take weapons and equipment with them. The main reasons for the mass desertion are hazing, lack of supplies, and being sent on so-called meat assaults.
In addition, in the internal reports of the occupying forces, the category of failure to follow orders is listed among the causes of death. Over the past year, more than 30 such cases have been documented, which in fact points to a systematic practice of executing Russian soldiers who refuse to be slaughtered for the Kremlin's ambitions. From a statement by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on Telegram.
Russia must stop the aggression that it started itself and is deliberately prolonging. This was stated by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Washington after meeting with American leader Donald Trump. According to him, Ukraine is counting on pressure from the United States. The talks lasted more than 2 hours. The presidents discussed all the key issues: the situation on the battlefield, long-range weapons, air defense, and diplomatic prospects. They also discussed cooperation in drone production and held a call with members of the coalition of willing countries.
We want the United States to participate in ensuring security. We are counting on the leadership of the United States. We talked about this. As I have already said, I am open to bilateral, trilateral, and possibly other formats, and I am open to any format that can bring us closer to peace.
At the meeting, they also discussed the possibility of Ukraine receiving long-range Tomahawk missiles, but no decision was made. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stated that work on this issue is ongoing. The Ukrainian side continues negotiations on specific weapons systems, production, and delivery schedules.
Yes, we talked about Tomahawks. I am open on this issue. We really want to get them. We need them. And this is the American position as of today. But no one has canceled the dialogue on this topic. So we just have to keep working on it.
The American president, speaking about the possible provision of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, said that the U.S. also needs them and therefore does not want to give other countries weapons that they themselves need for defense.
Tomahawks are very dangerous weapons. They are incredible weapons. If you like war, this is one of the most accurate ones. We used 30 Tomahawks in Iran after the bombers caused them damage. We launched 30 Tomahawks from a submarine that was quite far away. It's an amazing weapon. It's a very powerful weapon, but also very dangerous. And it could have even more serious consequences if things escalate. Tomahawks are a serious problem.
Ukraine needs a peace plan. This statement was made by German Chancellor Friedrich Merz after a conversation between European leaders, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and U.S. President Donald Trump. Merz noted that Europe will increase its support for Kyiv in order to force Russia to come to the negotiating table. There are plans to strengthen sanctions against Moscow and to use frozen Russian assets. According to him, Germany and its partners fully support Ukraine. President of Finland Alexander Stubb also supported MERS. He stated that no one wants this war to end more than the Ukrainians themselves.
President Zelenskyy has the full support of Germany and his European friends on the path to peace. After his meeting with President Trump, we coordinated and will accompany the next steps. Right now, Ukraine needs a peace plan. Friedrich Merz, Chancellor of Germany, on social network X, we firmly support Ukraine. This includes military and financial assistance, security guarantees, a ceasefire, and a peace process. The work continues. No one wants this war to end more than the Ukrainians do. Alexander Stubb, President of Finland, on social network X.
More than 2 hours of substantive discussion that will truly help and could bring the end of this war closer. These are the words President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy wrote after the talks at the White House on Telegram. Larissa Petruk has compiled the chronology of Volodymyr Zelenskyy's meetings during his working visit to Washington for us.
The delegation, headed by the Chief of Staff of the President of Ukraine, arrived in Washington at the beginning of the week. Andriy Yermak, together with the Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, Rustem Umerov, Prime Minister Yulia Svyridenko, First Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Kislitsya, and Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S., Ol Stefanishina, held talks with the U.S. Secretary of State, members of Congress, a representative of the U.S. President, and heads of American defense companies. All of this is part of the preparations for the meeting between leaders Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Donald Trump.
The leadership of the United States and President Donald Trump personally made peace in the Middle East possible. This is exactly the kind of vision the world and Ukraine need today. Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
Ahead of Volodymyr Zelenskyy's visit to Washington, Donald Trump held a phone conversation with Putin. This was their first conversation since their meeting in Alaska. According to the U.S. president, the talks were productive. Later, the head of the White House told journalists how Putin reacted to his mention of possible deliveries of American long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
Well, what do you think he said? Please sell Tomahawks, please sell those Tomahawks. I'm very grateful to you. I actually said, do you mind if I hand over a couple thousand Tomahawks to your opponents? That's what I told him. That's exactly what I said. He didn't like that idea.
Donald Trump will have another meeting with Putin. According to the U.S. president, it will take about 2 weeks to prepare. In the U.S., Volodymyr Zelenskyy held a series of meetings with the heads of defense companies, including Raytheon, which manufactures Patriot systems, as well as with U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright and leaders of American energy companies.
For Russia, nothing has changed. It continues to terrorize life in Ukraine even now. In fact, over these past weeks, there hasn't been a single night without Russian strikes on the country. Most of the targets are infrastructure, systematic terror against our energy sector. Russia is hoping to turn our part of Europe into an island of danger and abuse against people. It's important not to let that happen. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
The Ukrainian delegation, led by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, arrived at the White House at 8:30 in the evening Kyiv time. Before the closed-door part of the talks, the leaders spoke with the press. Donald Trump called Volodymyr Zelenskyy a strong leader and assured everyone that they have a good relationship.
He is a very strong leader who has been through a lot. We get along very well. And yesterday I had a lengthy conversation with Vladimir Putin. Mr. Zelenskyy and I will definitely discuss this. The President of Ukraine is doing a lot for his country, and we, the United States, will help him with this.
The time has come to end Russia's war against Ukraine, even though Putin is not ready for this, said the President of Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelenskyy proposed to the head of the White House to make a deal exchanging thousands of Ukrainian drones for American Tomahawk missiles. In addition, Ukraine is counting on the support of the United States amid constant Russian attacks on critical infrastructure.
I am confident that with your help we can stop this war, and we really need that. I had the opportunity to meet with representatives of major American energy companies, and they are ready to help us after all these attacks on our infrastructure, these Russian attacks. We also talked about air defense. I want to share this.
Answering journalists' questions, Donald Trump expressed hope that Putin also wants to end Russia's war against Ukraine. The U.S. president drew these conclusions from a phone conversation with the dictator.
Yesterday, I had a very productive conversation with Putin. Let's see what comes of it. But the war in the Middle East was much more complicated. We ended it, and I think we have good chances.
The press conference lasted about 40 minutes. Afterwards, the heads of state withdrew for negotiations. Larissa Petruk for Freedom TV channel.
Subscribe to The Gaze and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.